La próxima conferencia estará a cargo de Morton de Shell y va a hablar sobre biocombustibles y la relación de Shell en cuanto a RTRS y este tema. Muchas gracias.
Let me know if I'm speaking too quickly. I'd like to share with you two things this afternoon. The first part of the presentation will be about biofuels and the drivers or the need for biofuels on a global perspective. And the second element will be specifically on the RTRS Biofuels Working Group to share with you the work we've done and the updates from the European Commission and our proposed early next steps. Perhaps just before we get into it, so I'm Morton, I work for Shell in Europe, and I look after biofuel sustainability for all of our feedstocks globally. So I'll show you later some of the feedstocks we use at Shell, but it includes nearly 20 different feedstocks. Some of the slides I'll be showing are predictions of the future in terms of energy markets. So this slide I'm always required to show just so you obviously realize that there may be some inaccuracies in the future. Nobody can be perfect. So the main story is that we will need a lot of energy in the future. We are predicting at least a doubling of energy needs by 2050. Why is that? There's many reasons. The main reason is we will have a big increase in population. So we're expecting to go from 6 to 9 billion people by 2050, as shown in that figure on the left. The other reason is countries are becoming more affluent, and the chart on the right shows a correlation between affluence. So as the country becomes more affluent, it uses more energy. Logical. So these are two big drivers which will cause an increase in our energy needs globally. And the difficulty will be the supply of energy is getting more rare, more difficult to find easy oil. And of course the third element is the environmental stresses on our planet are increasing, not least of which climate change. So all of these factors are coming at the same time. If you look at this population growth and the energy supply that we predict for the future, you can see that we still anticipate at least 80% will be from fossil fuels, even into the future. So you can see from these bars, the biomass is the green piece, which is increasing, but it's not huge, and renewables is the blue piece. That would include solar, wind, other renewable forms of energy. But you still see a large piece of black, which is the coal, the gas, and the oil. So it's still quite significant, the amount of fossil fuel we'll have in the future. One of the reasons there's still a lot of fossil fuel is new technologies take a long time to be implemented. This is a slightly complicated chart, but it's showing different energy forms and how many years they take to become material. So there's a materiality band shown in white, and you can see that even nuclear or first generation biofuels takes a long time before they have sufficient volume to be material, significant. So looking at, for example, second generation biofuels, they will take a long time before they really become material. This graph was published in a science paper put together by some scientists working for Shell. In 2009, the paper was published. So there's a lot more detail if you're interested. Drilling down now from general energy to transport energy, more specifically, I think the CO2 footprint is about 60% from energy. It's So of course there's a big component from other elements, I'm sure including agriculture generally. But within the energy component, only about 25% is actually from road transport, or from transport even, and then road transport is 17%. So it's a relatively small piece. And within that road transport piece, we expect the number of vehicles on the road to double by 2050. Again, there'll be a huge pressure on CO2 emissions and on the supply of road transport fuels. Is it just me, or is that chart really difficult to read? Seems to be something with the letters have gone funny. Well, we'll put these slides available on the website, so hopefully you can read them later. Oh, that's disappointing. Yeah. Well, you'll have. Okay. That's unfortunate if the translators would have been able to sort of read what I've been saying, but well, the overall message is that there will be no one solution to the fuel supply problem. We're going to need all solutions. So we're going to need electric cars, we're going to need nuclear energy, we're going to need some biofuels, we're going to need a piece of everything. And each country, or maybe even each region, will probably pick a different solution. There'll be a mix or portfolio of energy solutions used in their region. Biofuels, however, are currently the cheapest commercial solution to reducing CO2 in the transport fuel. And this is now leading into the biofuels more specifically. Of course, not only Shell has realized about this being the cheapest approach, so we see increases in mandates in countries all around the world for biofuels to be blended into transport. This map shows in red the countries that have got blending mandates for biofuels. The reasons people choose to have mandates will be different depending on the country. So for example, North America tends to be mostly driven by energy security and support for the domestic agricultural economy, whereas in Europe it tends to be also the domestic agricultural support, but primarily a CO2 climate change issue. So there's a variety of different drivers behind biofuels mandates.